Everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another episode, guys, of The Difference. Hope everyone is having a fantastic Tuesday. Got a lot to cover today, but primarily we want to, first of all, start out the show by looking at Jimmy Carter and honoring his life and his presidency, and then talk about some of the controversies that went along with it. But that's what our poll is, so go ahead and hit that poll, and then check out this video to kick things off.
Let's go back now to our live coverage in Washington. You are looking at the hearse that carries the former president, Jimmy Carter, as it is about to be transferred to the horse-drawn caisson. And my colleague, special report anchor and executive editor Bret Baier, joins me for our coverage of this significant moment in front of the Naval Museum. Bret, welcome to you, the Naval Memorial, I should say. Good to have you with us. Your thoughts as we pick up the coverage of this historic event that is unfolding right now.
Yeah, Martha, good afternoon. This is the pomp and circumstance of a state funeral. And, President Carter, serving from 1977 to 1981, was someone who really was not about the grandeur of the office. In fact, he initially forbid or banned the playing of Hail to the Chief when he was president, because he wanted to come in with kind of the working man's attitude to demonstrate humility, to kind of restore faith in government after Vietnam and Watergate, and he wanted to be a man of the people. Eventually, over the years, he came to the case that they came up with this funeral plan, and one of the stops is here at the Navy Memorial, meant to take note of his service in the Navy as a submariner. He was, as you mentioned earlier, the only president in history to graduate from the U.S. Naval Academy. His father was in the Army. His uncle, who he really liked, inspired him, was in the Navy. Originally, as a submariner, Jimmy Carter planned to serve a full career in the Navy, and then he was thinking about retiring to Hawaii or maybe Annapolis, where the U.S. Naval Academy is. But his career ended in 1953 because his family's peanut business was really struggling. And after his dad's death, he went back to Georgia to take care of that.
I mean, it's a wonderful life type story. He had dreams of living in Hawaii, as you say, Bret, and the family business brought him back home. He had to pick up after his father's death and continue there. And there's an interesting vignette I read about Thanksgiving. We're looking at members of the family as they gather for the transfer from, there's Amy Carter, his youngest child, who many of us remember as this little girl in the White House. She had 3 older siblings. But there's a funny story, Bret, about Thanksgiving and in Georgia with the family, and then Governor Carter saying, I have an announcement to make to the family. And he said, I'm going to run for president. And someone said, of what? And it goes on to say everybody kept shuffling and putting their plates together. Apparently, at that moment, they weren't taking him very seriously, but boy, he was taking it very seriously. And he ended up winning all the primaries in the primary season and becoming president of the United States, Bret.
There was this hunger, if you think about that time in our history, for this humility, for this honor of the office in the wake of what we saw in Watergate. And that's really what catapulted Carter as, a Baptist Sunday school teacher, a peanut farmer, the governor of Georgia. He served in the state Senate down there in Georgia. But when he came to office, he really wanted to be bare bones. And as I said, the Hail to the Chief thing, but he eliminated the trumpet welcoming that Richard Nixon liked when he walked in the room. He actually, even as a Navy guy, sold the presidential yacht, the Sequoia. There was a presidential yacht at one time. And he said, we don't want that. So he sold it off. Every time he went on Air Force One, he carried his own luggage. He wanted to make sure that was the image that was seen by the American people as his body obviously making the transfer here.
All right, let's watch.
Okay, yeah. Unfortunately, the mic was muted. I appreciate that, guys. All right, this is a really interesting thing when it comes to Jimmy Carter. He set out to lead with integrity and moral leadership, of course, following the Watergate scandal. Now, I will say that if Jimmy Carter did anything right, it's that he lived up to that. He was a man of integrity, and he led with moral leadership. However, he was also a progressive, and because of his progressive governance, there was economic stagflation. There were foreign policy struggles. And so he did restore trust to the presidency, but his administration does serve as a reminder of the importance of balancing ideals with effective conservative economic and strategic policies. Now, I had to compare it to Joe Biden because I feel like Joe Biden wanted to be the Jimmy Carter of the modern era, in that Donald Trump was rambunctious, and there were the impeachments and all the scandals that went around Donald Trump. And Joe Biden came in and he was going to restore dignity to the office. Well, he didn't. He wasn't the Jimmy Carter of our time. And that's why a lot of people will say that Joe Biden was the worst president of all time. Because not only did he promote progressive ideals, but he also was not... He didn't bring dignity to the office. He lied to the American people. He was a weak leader, and we see that over and over again with everything that he did. But anyway, guys, Biden, speaking of Biden, he's got a war that he started against Trump. And a lot of that is coming out and being exposed. He's making some desperate moves, guys, like this new offshore drilling ban that's sparking a lot of outrage. I want to give you all the latest update on that, so y'all check this out.
The incoming president, Donald Trump, expressing frustration with recent moves by Joe Biden in his final 13 days in office, including Biden's ban of new offshore oil drilling in most federal waters. Madeline Rivera is live at the White House with the latest. Good morning, Maddie.
Hi, good morning, Steve. President-elect Trump is promising to undo President Biden's recent action. The Biden administration is defending its move to ban new drilling in more than 600 million acres of federal waters, saying that drilling off these coasts could cause irreversible damage to places we hold dear and is unnecessary to meet our energy needs. Here's Trump's reaction.
You know, they talk about a transition. They're always saying, oh, no, we want to have a smooth transition from party to party of government. Well, they're making it really difficult. They're throwing everything they can in the way. They're giving out trillions of dollars in nonsense, in Green New Deal crap that isn't worth a damn thing. In fact, it's a negative for the country, not a positive.
But the president is using his authority under the Outer Continental Shelf Lands Act. It does not have specific language saying a future president can undo the ban. So what can the Trump administration do? Well, the first option would be to get Congress to act and change the law. The second would be to issue another executive order and then wait for the lawsuit to play out in court. Energy advocates are also weighing in.
The U.S. offshore is one of the premier energy producing regions in the world. We have been producing more than 1 million barrels of oil in the U.S. offshore region since 1997, and we're almost at peak levels. The problem is we cannot just be confined to 2 small areas in the Gulf of Mexico. We need to be able to get out there and find the new discoveries so that we can continue to produce affordable, reliable supplies of energy for the American public.
Today, the president also established 2 national monuments protecting more than 800,000 acres of land in California. Steve.
Joe Biden is really busy these days on the way out. Thanks, Maddie.
Wow.
You got it.
All right. Somebody who used to work in that building behind Madeline is Arkansas governor and former Trump White House president.
Guys, Joe Biden is doing more in his last few days of office than he did the entire 4 years that he was in office. Let's just be glad, though, that he didn't do a whole lot.
Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders joins us right now from Arkansas, I believe. Good morning to you, Governor.
Good morning. It's great to be with you.
It's great to have you. Happy New Year. We've heard Donald Trump say on day one, drill, baby, drill. So what's Joe Biden doing? He's putting as many speed bumps in front of him as he possibly can.
You know, thank goodness Joe Biden didn't have this much ability during the previous 4 years as he has had since Donald Trump won in November. He has been trying to do as many things on the way out the door as possible and destroying everything that Donald Trump spent 4 years in office building. The good thing is we only have more days of this destruction administration before Donald Trump takes office again. Not only did Donald Trump make America energy independent, he made America energy dominant. And that is so incredibly key, not only for our financial security, but for our national security. And this isn't just something people are talking about in the abstract, whether it's offshore drilling, which, you know, you hear about. But this is something that has impacted everyday Americans from coast to coast, north to south, because gas prices are up still nearly 30% right now since Joe Biden took office. People feel this. I think it's one of the big reasons Donald Trump dominated in November, because people were feeling the negative impacts of the decisions of the Biden administration. They didn't like it. And they want to go back to the winning and prosperity that we had under President Trump. And thankfully, we're going to get that here in the next couple of weeks.
That's right, 13 days. And you're absolutely right, Sarah, Governor, because the high cost of gasoline impacts everything. Joe Biden didn't really get it. It's like you're going to wind up driving an electric car whether you like it or not. Well, now, of course, we know that push was for naught because people just don't want to drive those cars in the kind of numbers they want. But we do know for sure, Governor, that Donald Trump will be the next president of the United States, because yesterday, there in the well of the House of Representatives, the current vice president, she was yesterday the Senate president, Kamala Harris, declared the other guy won. You know, that's the way it's supposed to happen. And next up, Donald Trump, 13 days.
And what an exciting day for many of the reasons we just talked about. This is not just for Donald Trump, but for the entire country. We get to return back to a president who actually knows and understands how to secure our border, how to protect our interests both at home and abroad, who will actually focus on empowering every American to live their best life instead of looking for unnecessary burdens and regulations that make everything more difficult. This is a president who, under his 4 years of leadership, helped every American do better. And I expect that that's going to happen again and very quickly under Donald Trump's watch.
All right.
And it's a great thing that they're finally recognizing not to contest this president. It's been since 1988 since a Republican has won and the Democrats haven't protested. So
that's right.
Glad to see a smooth transition and even more excited to see Donald Trump take office again in 13 days.
Such a good.
You know, guys, Biden's offshore drilling ban is absolutely insane. What it does is it undermines America's energy independence. Now, I just don't understand. Like, economically, these people are insane. And they're catering to the radical environmentalist agendas. And this is what I hate so much, is that they've turned environmentalism into a bad word. Because taking care of the planet is a good thing to do. You know, taking care of your water and your air, that's a great and noble cause. But what they've done is they've tied in all of this pseudoscience, and it's absolutely ridiculous. They've used it as an engine to promote and push their insane ideas, which make no sense. You have to follow, if you really want to make sense of the progressive ideology, you have to follow the money trail. It's really, that's what's actually crazy about progressives, guys, is that they say that they're all ideals and no money, right? And then the capitalists are all, you know, the right, the conservatives, they're all about the money. But actually, conservatives are more about the ideals that generate money, and progressives are all about the money, and so they push insane ideals that repress money. It's insane, guys. Absolutely insane. Hey, guys. I want to welcome everyone to the stream today. Thanks for watching. Appreciate all the support, guys. Don't forget to leave a like. If you're watching this video after the fact, thanks for watching. Hit that like button. It really does help out the channel. All right. Now, Biden's been, I told you, he started a war with Donald Trump, and he's doing more in the last few days, and I think he's doing it out of spite. Well, in this next clip, Kevin McCarthy sounds the alarm because Biden's final actions are what he calls a punishment for America for electing Donald Trump. And I think Biden hates everyone right now. He hates the Republicans. He hates the Democrats because the Democrats, kind of stabbed him in the back a little bit there. Y'all check out this clip, guys, as Kevin McCarthy kind of sounds the alarm. This is this Biden's final blow to America.
Yeah. Former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is sitting here with us. Let's listen to Speaker Mike Johnson. This is what he thinks about the reconciliation package.
The Senate has a little different opinion and perspective on reconciliation and what the largest spread of the year than the House, and that's part of this process. As you all know, we built consensus around this idea, but we are going to get this mission accomplished.
Reconciliation, it's one of those Washington words that basically you can get into the weeds really quickly. For mom and dad at home, what do they need to know?
Important? If you want to pass anything in the Senate, you normally need 60 votes. But when you have one party control the House and the Senate, you can do reconciliation with 50 votes. This is how Democrats did Obamacare. This is how we did the tax bill. But it only lasts for 10 years. So why it's so important, though, in the Senate, they have something called the Byrd Rule. So you can't write the bill just as you want. You've got to pass the parliamentarian. So why the Senate has a different belief than the House? For the first time in modern history, the majority in the Senate is larger than the House. The House actually lost seats, and you watched how close the Speaker's race was. But the interesting thing's going to happen come January 20th. 2 more members of the House are going to leave, and that takes time to fill the seat. So when Speaker Johnson said he wants this done by April, well, April 1st is when the vote is in Florida. The seat for Elise Stefanik won't happen until after that. So he has no room to spare. So I agree you need one bill, because if you take 2, it's harder to pass in the House. The Senate's okay. But remember this, just from the knowledge of doing a lot of bills, if you make a bill too big, it collapses upon itself. And what they really have to do is focus. This is all about the tax bill. Economy comes first. But the tax bill is going to change, right? Because those members in New York and California, they worry about SALT. So it has to change. And when you change SALT, it costs more money. The president wants to change no tax on tips. That costs money. So it's no easy play here, but Jason Smith was right. He's the chairman of Ways and Means. This is a big victory for him because he's been out there advocating early on when the speaker wasn't taking a position to do one bill.
So for viewers at home, I think maybe the easiest way to understand it or to follow it maybe is what the senators are saying, the Republican side is, tell us what you can do in the House.
Yes.
Get that done first, and then we can take up that measure on our side.
Why people want to start with it, they want to do the border. Rightfully so. But the president could do a lot of administrative there. And I believe the border is a disaster. And they could take disaster money and use that for the border. So if you take 2 votes, as people progress, you normally have a 9-month honeymoon. 1 or 2 members saying no, as we watched in the speaker race, can stop the whole thing.
Okay, so let me ask you about that, because Punchbowl News today talked about Trump and the House Freedom Caucus. You know the House Freedom Caucus very well, and said that the House Freedom Caucus is home to some of the Trumpiest members in Washington, yet it's also been willing to defy Trump at times. It's clear these hardliners are sometimes comfortable banding together and bucking Trump, at least when they have strength in numbers. So how do you anticipate? Is this what you mean by it collapsing on its own weight?
Yeah.
On the Republican side.
On the Republican side. And if it can't pass the House, if all the Democrats say no and 2 Republicans say no, can't agree, want something different in the bill, then all your taxes go up because you've got to solve it by the end of the year. So the pressure is on. But I disagree with that. The House Freedom Caucus is not the most Trumpian place. The people that went against Trump the strongest are in the House Freedom Caucus. They didn't support Trump. They campaigned against Trump. They campaigned to the very end against Trump. The Ralph Norman who voted against, he was Nikki Haley all the way. Chip Roy, he was against Trump all the time. So the real Trump support is in the caucus.
Interesting.
So when House Freedom Caucus says they're conservative, they're not conservative. They just don't want to vote for anything. And by not voting for anything, raises your taxes.
Let me motor through this. I think you're going to hear a lot about this later in the morning into the afternoon about what Joe Biden's doing the final days he has as president. Here we go. Truth Social, Trump says Biden's doing everything possible to make the transition as difficult as possible, from lawfare such as never seen before to costly and ridiculous executive orders on the Green New scam and other money-wasting hoaxes. Fear not, these orders will be terminated shortly, and we will become a nation of common sense and strength. MAGA.
Wow.
How much can he reverse
once he's in office.
If it's by executive, he can reverse all of it. But it also can take time, where you'd have to go, if you have to go through any reporting and let the public have some say. But the president, Biden, is doing a lot of damage right now. You watch what he just did when it came to our energy policy. We're in a competition for the world to whoever could capture AI and quantum. Whoever does that will lead the next century.
Whoa.
You can't capture AI unless you have the energy. We have to expand our grid. And God has blessed America, but we need all the above. We need all the energy to be able to go forward. He's walling this off, giving an advantage to China. You watch time and again. It's almost like he wants to punish America because he got pushed off the ballot. It's not a Democrat thing. It's a punishment to America because he's upset with how the Bidens were treated. And this is one thing I will say. Look, I never agreed with Kamala Harris on pretty much anything. But I want to give her kudos for how she handled yesterday. For anybody on any side, that was probably a tough day.
Tough moment.
But she was professional, and she did something that was difficult, and I give her credit for that.
Yeah, indeed. All right.
100%, guys. Kamala Harris, and I don't know. Wait, what is going on here? Has my voice been going double the whole time? Y'all gotta call me out, guys, on these technical issues. But here's the thing. With Kamala Harris, she did a professional job yesterday, 100%. What Kevin McCarthy just said, she did. Joe Biden, on the other hand, is a train wreck. Oh my goodness. His final actions are a stark reminder to me of the left's agenda to prioritize political ideology over the well-being of everyday Americans, and we see it over and over and over and over again. And what he's doing here with these bills is he's using reconciliation as a weapon to push through policies, or at least push through policies and stop policies. And what it's going to do is it's going to burden taxpayers and it's going to undermine economic freedom. That's when you boil it down. That's what's happening right now. That's what Donald Trump, or that's what Joe Biden is doing. And it's crazy, absolutely crazy. Guys, thanks for leaving a like. Thanks for subscribing. Republicans are finally taking some action when it comes to the border. And the border crackdown is beginning. They're making some bold moves on immigration, and they're taking those first steps to see this border secured. Y'all check out this latest update.
The House has just passed the Laken-Riley Act. This was a bill, of course, that was named after the nursing student who was killed by an illegal immigrant while jogging on a trail at the University of Georgia's campus. Let's get to Chad Pergram. He's got the very latest on that for us live from the Hill. Hi, Chad.
Sandra, good afternoon. Well, this is the first legislative action by the Republican House of Representatives. They just passed the Laken-Riley Act, as you alluded to. The vote on the House floor, 264 to 159. There were 48 Democrats who voted yes. When they passed this bill in March of last year, there were 37 Democratic yeas, so this goes up a little bit. This bill would mandate detention for illegal immigrants arrested for minor crimes. We do expect this to go to the Senate. There's bipartisan support for this in the Senate. John Fetterman, the Democrat from Pennsylvania, he has signed on to this bill as well. In the past hour or so, we've learned that Gary Peters, the Democratic senator from Michigan, who faces a challenging re-election bid in 2026, he has also signed on to this bill. Now, Republicans, they promised that they would crack down on the border. That was one of their big campaign promises last fall, and they're really trying to dare Democrats here to see if they learn their lesson from 2024. John Thune, the new Senate Majority Leader, he has said that he might have a test vote on this on Friday. Sandra?
All right, Chad Pergram with that for us live on the Hill. Chad, thank you.
I'm Steve.
Okay, guys. Finally, that's all I can say is finally, after 4 long years, we're finally getting some progress when it comes to this border issue that's wreaking havoc on our country. But you know what, guys? 13 days until Donald Trump is the president again, and it can't come any sooner. All right, guys. Hey, that's all for today's stream. It's going to be a little bit of a shorter stream today, but hey, thanks for leaving a like. Thanks for subscribing to the channel, guys, for more videos like this. And just looking at this poll, how do you view Jimmy Carter's presidency in the context of post-Watergate America? Not a whole lot of action on the poll today. I had one person that said that it was a mixed intentions and failures, and what he wanted to do, he really didn't live up to because, again, of the broken progressive viewpoints that he held. But anyway, guys, hey, I hope y'all have a great, fantastic rest of your day, and I'll see you again tomorrow with another video. I don't know if we're doing a live stream tomorrow. I think we're going to switch it up, do a little video, so check it out. And hey, Star, appreciate the support. Guys, y'all remember to hit up the chat. Let me know what you're thinking about everything that's going on with what's going on in the news today. All right, guys, y'all take it easy.